Hey everyone, it's hard to believe, but 2023 is almost done. It's become a bit of a tradition here at Team AOC to take a moment and look back and celebrate all of the wins that we've had this year. We're only able to make this progress because of your support, so these are very much your victories too. So let's get to it. I'm proud to present our 23 wins from 2023. 1. We introduced 29 pieces of legislation this year. Under the Republican majority, 5 of our amendments went to the House floor for a vote, and 2 passed the House. 2. We're especially proud of our amendment to end the ban on the study of psychedelics. We've introduced that amendment every session we've been in Congress, and we finally got it through the House this year, working with Representative Dan Crenshaw. A big thank you to the military veterans who advocated for this amendment and who continue to fight for alternative therapies for PTSD. 3. We also successfully passed an amendment that required the U.S. military to provide an update on their efforts to clean up hazardous waste in Vieques, Puerto Rico. I traveled to the island in November to visit a VA hospital, meet with regenerative agriculture organizers, and support community leaders in La Perla. 4. We grew support for the Green New Deal with 17 new co-sponsors. We also developed a Green New Deal implementation guide to help local governments and nonprofits apply for federal grants that meet Green New Deal goals. 5. We successfully pushed the White House to create the American Climate Corps. This is a small pilot program now that we hope to expand greatly in the years to come. 6. I traveled to Japan and Korea this year for a trilateral legislative exchange, where we learned about climate and infrastructure policy and advocated for LGBTQ rights ahead of the G7 summit. 7. We began to build diplomatic ties across Latin America, meeting with Presidents Lula, Boric, and Petro. We also led a historic congressional delegation to Brazil, Chile, and Colombia. 8. Following our visit, President Biden reinforced the U.S. financial commitment to the Amazon Fund and declassified documents detailing the U.S.'s involvement in the 1973 Chilean coup. 9. We hosted a dozen members of Congress to tour the migrant response in New York City and successfully secured additional resources and temporary protected status for 500,000 Venezuelans. 10. We attended over 240 community events this year, distributed 1,115 backpacks, welcomed over 300 children to our annual Halloween party, gave out 700 Thanksgiving turkeys, and organized 6 town halls. 11. We responded to over 2,000 requests for casework assistance, helping neighbors with everything from urgent passport renewals to immigration petitions. 12. We started up a new grant assistance program, and already we've brought home over $1.7 billion in federal funding to partners in New York 14. 13. We called on the Department of Justice to investigate Clarence Thomas for corruption, and were joined by senior members of the House Judiciary and Oversight Committees. 14. We were one of the original co-sponsors calling for a ceasefire in Gaza and have worked to grow that coalition to 62 members of Congress strong. 15. We've debuted our first TikTok video to stand against the proposed U.S. ban on TikTok. 16. President Biden committed $8.2 billion to a U.S. high-speed rail network 2 years after we rallied with transit advocates in front of Union Station. 17. We pushed the Biden administration to forgive student loans, and so far they've forgiven $132 billion for 3.6 million Americans, and are working to cancel more in the year to come. They also introduced new payment plans that cut monthly payments in half for most borrowers. 18. As the ranking member of the Energy and Mineral Resources Subcommittee, we successfully fought to preserve additional territory within the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. 19. We stopped Republicans from shutting down the federal government twice and hosted phone banks targeting 6 vulnerable New York Republicans to keep the government open. 20. We organized for reproductive rights and fundraised for 5 different abortion access funds across the country. 21. We supported unprecedented labor movement victories. We walked the picket line with SAG-AFTRA and WGA, UPS Teamsters, the Association of Professional Flight Attendants, and even traveled to Wentzville, Missouri to rally for the historic UAW contract. 22, we raised over $48,000 to support everyday Americans trying to recover from climate disasters, including in Maui and East Palestine, Ohio. And lastly, 23, we raised over $100,000 for fellow progressive members of Congress as they face unprecedented efforts from AIPAC and special interests to unseat pro-ceasefire members of Congress. And we wouldn't be able to do any of this important work without you. So thank you all. Whether you donated, joined a picket line, or a phone bank, you made a difference. And we did all of this with an average donation amount of $15.76. No amount is too small to make a difference. So if you can, consider joining our thousands of supporters to support more of that organizing in the year to come. Thank you all again for all that you do and for all your support. I wish you a very happy holiday season and a wonderful new year. Bye-bye.